I've been running a software engineering company for the past 3 years, and I basically help other businesses use technology. And generally, I see businesses use either way too many tools and overcomplicate their lives, especially for startups. So if you're just starting out your business, this might be you because they're confused and they just want to try everything. Or you have boomer businesses that don't even know half of this stuff exists and they're using way too few tools. Over the past 3 years, I've basically come down to tools that I consistently use. When I've stopped using them, I end up having to buy an alternative or something, like I need it again, and so I buy it again. Or when I've started using something else, I realize it's useless and take that off my monthly bill. The first tool I always use is a CRM. Now, I have spent some time without CRMs, but I always end up coming back to one. Right now I use HubSpot because I wanted to give that a try. It is very, very clunky in my personal opinion. I hate the user experience, but it is also, I think, incredibly feature rich. And so that makes it hard to deny as a good option. There's plenty of CRMs out there. Adio, I think, is a pretty decent one. I've used Pipedrive before as well. There's lots of different options, pros and cons for all of them. There's all kinds of CRMs for niche use cases, and I really think that's a case of kind of Googling your way into what is the best CRM for your specific use case. Second thing I use is Slack for communication. I think Slack is really, really great. Slack, Microsoft Teams, something like that. That's like professional, lets you connect with other companies. You need something like that. And I think running a company on WhatsApp is a disaster. And I've known some people who did that, and I think it's just really messy. Third thing I use is Airtable. Now, I use Airtable for a variety of purposes. One of the main ones though is accounting. So I keep track of deals and transactions there, and I basically understand and do some basic data analytics there. It's a really good platform for doing very basic business intelligence stuff where you can understand which customers are profitable and which aren't. You can do the same thing in an Excel sheet, but the advantage of Airtable is that it also functions as a bit more of a database. If you end up wanting to build more advanced things, it's quite easy and you don't need incredibly advanced skills and things like that. I personally like Airtable. Although, to be fair, you can use Google Sheets or something like that as well. I just think Airtable is a pretty good option because it lets you organize things into lots of different views and things. And so your team can create pretty complex interfaces that serve you. And it's like pretty multi-purpose. The fourth thing I would say is Notion. So some kind of knowledge management database, company documents, all this kind of stuff. It all goes in Notion. It's all organized there. The team has access. Clients have access to their own pages. I do client roundups there. Any information I put into Notion, I find it really useful. Other people organize themselves on documents and whatever. Personally, I just think Notion's really intuitive to use. Fifth thing is LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I've gone on and off with LinkedIn Sales Navigator for some time, but I think it's a really, really strong prospecting tool. If you do B2B sales, if you do a lot of outbound, I think it's really, really powerful because it lets you like hyper target prospects. It lets you filter by people who've posted, who are active on LinkedIn. It lets you like in-mail them and stuff like that, which can be really, really powerful when you know who you're targeting. And in general, it's a way better open rate than email, than cold email, because you can't get into somebody's inbox directly or Instagram requests or whatever. LinkedIn is one of the only platforms which lets you directly get into somebody's direct messages with the in-mail credits. Now they are limited, they're like 50 per month or whatever, depending on your plan. But if you know how to target your prospects right, it's an absolute beast for cold outbound. And I'm using more of that these days actually. Tool number 6 is Loom. Loom videos are incredible. And the reason I think that is because it's super practical and easy to make, but also it's this thing that nowadays there's so much automation and I'm all for it. Like I'm all about this kind of new age, new AI stuff. We are all about building more of this in my company. But if you are able to preserve the human side, people appreciate it. If I send demos to people, I will try and record it with my face in it. If I send a little client wrap up, I will record a video as well as make a written version. And it's just nice to be able to watch a video that's kind of made just for you. And it's like me talking to you almost as if I were in person. It's asynchronous, but it's also as human friendly as possible, if that makes sense. And I think right now that's what a lot of people crave, is like genuine, authentic connection. At least I found it's really nice. I love using it. I use it pretty much every day for whether it's team communication, client communication. I just think Loom is a pretty great way to show different things. I have to say they built a really, really good user experience where it's like super easy for me to pick up and record. I just hit the little icon on my menu bar and that's that. So I enjoy that. I pay for them. Honestly, I don't think I could get rid of any of these software bills. I'm going to add a last little bonus one, and that's some kind of AI provider. There's a lot of free AI options as well, but I think GPT Pro or whatever, or GPT Plus, the $20 a month, it's worth it. There are alternatives as well. You can use DeepSeek for free. There's plenty of options out there nowadays, but I do think it's worthwhile to pay for something because it's really useful to have a good AI as a kind of sidekick when you're working. Fundamentally, this stack can serve almost any business. You can swap out a couple bits and bobs. You can change HubSpot for a different CRM. You can, instead of LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you could use something else. But fundamentally, I think for small companies, you don't need that much more beyond this kind of stuff. And you can automate more always. You can create more complex things. But when you're starting out, I think some people get too fancy and too complicated about it. You don't need 16 SaaS tools, racking up a multi-$100 bill every single month for for your SaaS. It's, I think, pretty much a waste of money. The return on investment just isn't there when you use too many tools because it's too confusing, unless you're kind of a big enterprise and you can justify all that. Yeah, that's just been my experience seeing people use SaaS tools. I think sometimes they use too many. I've gotten by really well with just these core tools. I've gotten on really, really well, and they have served my business, but also kept me relatively lean. Anyway, feel free to ask any more questions in the comments. I will reply to as many of those as possible.